Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Friday Connections. It is the 15th of May, 2020. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so delighted to have you today. We are talking about creative problem solving today. My name is Sinika Wah. I'm with your Clear Next Step. And these Friday calls are part of our own ongoing mission to just help people have better work days. Because my firm belief is if we have a better work day, it spills over and we have better evenings, and that spills over into better weekends, and then we're willing to give our discretionary time to help build better communities. So we're having better weekdays right here on a Friday. This is our networking session, but I wanted to share a couple of tips because we have been in an opportunity, right? We've had a fair number of opportunities in the last several months for what I would call creative problem solving, right? We can get kind of creative in the problems that we're solving, and I think we've seen some pretty great ideas. So I'm going to share a couple of the things that came out of my things that I saw on Facebook somewhere along the line. I have just pulled out the photos just to make them fun. I'm not trying to take credit from anywhere else. I am just simply sharing some of these fun things. Creative problem solving. So at one point early on, we started thinking about masks and what we were going to do with masks. And there were some creative solutions, some of which worked better than others. So we had some, let's use our undergarments as masks. Why not? So there were some posts about, depending on what size your underwear was, whether it would make a good mask or not. So then we had some really great solutions, which this one is just so heartwarming and sweet. We had a couple of great posts out there and creative problem solving on, I can't go visit my parents or my elderly grandparents or people that I love, and we can't share the same space, but how can I get creative? And everything from standing outside their window and waving and talking to them on the phone to pulling up a chair outside their window and chatting and visiting by phone, but through the window. I thought some of those were pretty sweet. So then we've also had the reality that children, especially small children, are troublesome to have at home when you're trying to work at home. So we've got the guy who set up the workstation inside the crib so that the toddler couldn't get at it. And then we've got the guy who just had enough and taped his children to the floor. Whatever it was that worked for you. Other teachers trying to get their kids to pay attention, or the students to pay attention, so they brought in pictures of dogs or actually showed their dog on the screen to try and get the attention of the teenagers who were participating in online classes. I thought this mother was pretty clever. So she was in a meeting from 9:30 to 11, do not enter. And then she offered some questions. So here, the answer to your question might be upstairs, in the wash. I don't know what's for dinner. No. In your bedroom, and piece of fruit. These sounded like a mom who knows for sure what questions her kids are going to ask. And then, of course, the person who put the sign on the back saying, I'm on a tight schedule today. Exceptions in case of emergency are permitted. Am I on fire and don't know it? Are you on fire and I'm the only one who can put you out? Are you pizza? The zombie apocalypse is here. And those are the acceptable reasons to interrupt. So then we got some creative solutions, and we've experienced these in the stores, right? That's the one way on the aisle, or the marking of the X's, although I did see someone post just yesterday that they've seen too many Roadrunner cartoons to stand where the X is marked. So they won't do that. Then we've got happy hour with curbside delivery. We've got shower curtains going up in restaurants and cafes. We've got greenhouses in restaurants and cafes. And the one that I saw that was just apparently today or yesterday was the cafe that opened up and gave people hats as they arrived, and the hats had pool noodles on them. And so you wouldn't bump into other people. That was how you maintained your social distance, was with a hat that had pool noodles on top. So I think we've gotten sort of creative at that stuff. And I think creative problem solving is useful for us. As we get to thinking about it, what is it that we want to do with creative problem solving? And what I want to do today, hopefully in our networking time, is we'll get to celebrate some of the creative problem solving that we've seen. Some of the ways that our companies or our employers or the nonprofits that we like to support have really helped to solve some of the problems that are out there. There was the various companies who switched their restaurant workers to delivery drivers so that they could continue to provide services, and they got creative about that. There have been just a wide variety of ways that employers have gotten creative about how to solve problems. People have gotten creative about how to connect with others. We've gotten creative about the needs that we need to address. And when I think about problem solving, and this is something that I've been teaching for a really long time. It's one of my favorite topics is problem solving. And I've got three sort of key messages around problem solving that I would offer. One of them is let's make sure we really know what problem we're trying to solve. So what problem are we trying to solve? Once we know what problem we're trying to solve, we can brainstorm that with another person. So we can brainstorm that with another person or alone, but really make sure that we're solving the right problem, that we have it figured out. When you're trying to solve a problem, you'll know for sure that you've arrived at the right problem to solve when you recognize that it is a problem that you can solve. It's a problem that you should solve. And it's a problem that by solving it, other problems go away. So that's kind of the secret of making sure you're solving the right problem. The second theme in our problem solving is really about looking at the options and making sure we're picking the right option. Well, in order to pick the right option, you can't just go with the first option that hits you. Like the first thing that someone suggests is not necessarily the right option. In fact, even the option that worked for someone else might not be the right option for you. So it's about brainstorming. Alone or with someone else, I've always believed we're smarter and wiser and better together. You brainstorm about all the possible ways you could solve this problem. What are all the ways? And you look at it from different lenses. Someone from this perspective will see it differently than someone who's coming at it from another angle, right? So what are all the ways we could solve that problem? And then once we have a bunch of ideas, then we pick the best of those options. What's the solution that has the most benefits for us, that has the fewest obstacles, and that our gut says is right? So we got data that points to this is right. It has really good benefits to it. And our gut data points to it has very few obstacles, or the obstacles are things that we can overcome. But our gut also says this is the right thing to do for us. And then the last one is, what action steps do I need to take to implement the solution? So the first theme, of course, is what problem am I really trying to solve? Let's get to the right problem. The second one is, let's pick the right solution. Don't pick the first one or the one that seems easiest. Pick the one that's really, really right, the one or ones. And then the third one is, put the right action plan in place. You see, deciding to solve your problem is not the same as taking action. Deciding that's the solution is not the same as actually implementing that solution, right? So we've got to go ahead and move forward with what is our plan. What action steps are we going to take? What are we going to try? What are we going to implement? How are we going to do that? Are there supplies we need to purchase? Is there training we need to provide? Is there education we need to get out there? Is there just a communication to switch things around a little bit? We really think about it, and then we figure out how to implement that plan. And then once we've implemented it, once we put that solution out there, it doesn't have to be, well, we tried it once, this must be the only option, or we've tried it once and it went okay, so let's just do it again. Once we've tried it, let's keep looking at it, keep reviewing it, keep tweaking it, adjust those solutions to make them even better. You know, if it worked this way once, maybe if I tighten this up here or do this a little bit differently there, it'll get even better from there. So that is the problem-solving counsel that I would offer you on that. This is some of my favorite stuff on creative problem-solving. I'm really thinking outside the box. And the reason that I stopped and shared some of those pictures was just to stop and go, all right, what problem are we trying to solve? And how have we done that in some creative ways?